Yo, we're back, bro. It's been a hot minute, dude.
Holy shit, the
What,
boys are back.
2 months now? Something
The
like that.
boys are back. Yo, almost 2 months without doing this fucking podcast, bro.
Bro, time
What the
flies,
fuck?
man. It's been a good summer. It's been a good summer.
For It's been a minute. It's been like since May, dude. Like a lot of shit's happened in the world, in our personal lives. Holy shit, dude.
A lot to unpack, a lot to unravel. But before we get into the nitty gritty, let's do a little summary, bro. So how have you been, man? How's your past 2 months been?
Dude,
Update
I,
the fans here.
dude, I've been chilling, bro. Obviously working. And the other thing is, bro, I had a little vacation, bro. A little epic vacation, dude.
A little bit.
I went to I spent was it, like 10 days on a boat in the Mediterranean, bro, on a cruise ship. That shit was sick, dude. We went to some sick ports of call. Bro, first we started the trip in Rome. That was unbelievably epic. Then we went to the Italian coast. We went to Sicily, Amalfi. We went and then we took a trip to Greece. We hit up Santorini. We hit up Ephesus, which is the ancient city, which is basically in Turkey, an ancient Greek city in Turkey,
Nice.
which is pretty much like mostly ruins, but the actual city itself was badass, like the Turkish city of Kusadasi. And then after that, we hit up Mykonos, and we ended the trip in Athens, bro. It was pretty epic. I'm not gonna lie, it was like a history nerd's wet dream.
So as you saw the statue of Marcus Aurelius, you
Oh,
just got a
dude,
hard on. You got a chubby.
bro. As you guys, I mean, as everyone knows, I got a chubby for stoicism, right? So, bro, we were in Rome, and it was just while there, I was trying to picture myself like thinking, like, bro, like these are actually the same streets that Marcus used to walk through, like that the fucking ancient Stoics used to walk through. Like, it's crazy how much history is in that one area, and how expansive it is, and how much of an impact it's had, not only on fucking lives, on my life personally, at least with Stoicism, but also on like just Western civilization in general. It's fucking unreal to think about. And it's easy, I think, to lose that perspective while you're there because you're like, oh, cool. Like, what's that stone and what's that, bro? It was so sick, like seeing like Hadrian's column. I didn't even know Marcus had a column. He has his own column. Going to the Colosseum, seeing the fucking ruins of the how jacked up it is now, and even seeing some of the more modern stuff, like the temple, not temple, but the altar to the fatherland, which was built like I think it was built by Mussolini. And how he like knocked down literally, in the movies, how you can see where Mussolini would stand and give his speeches, like that
No,
little balcony.
I don't.
Well,
But explain it. Explain it.
so Mussolini, he was one of the leaders of the Italian. Well, he was the leader, the dictator of Italy during the Second World War and the Axis powers. And he would, give his speeches atop this like balcony, this building, and literally I was at the building where he would deliver the speeches from, and he literally knocked down from where he was to where the Colosseum is. It's a straight shot with no buildings in between. There used to be stuff there, like ruins and shit. He removed all that because he didn't want there to be any space between himself and the fucking Colosseum. Think about like the egomaniac this guy was, bro.
Wait, what's the implication with that? That like he didn't give a fuck? Like
He says that I don't know. He wanted to like establish his fucking how epic the guy was, and like how, I can see the Colosseum from my balcony type shit. Like,
Oh,
it's
like
a
a
straight
nice
shot. There's
view.
nothing between me and the Colosseum. You know what I mean?
Respect.
No, but it was epic, bro. And the rest of the parts were epic as well. Obviously, especially Turkey. Turkey was fucking badass. So,
Turkey. What
yeah.
would you say was your highlight moment? Like the
Dude,
number
Turkey.
one thing?
Turkey was the highlight moment, and the reason why is because Turkey was, we had booked excursions on the other ports of call, and Turkey was the only one that we didn't book an excursion on. And despite that, bro, like we went there on our own, and we pretty much had a better time than in all the other ports of calls in terms of like doing activities for ourselves. It was very cheap to just get a taxi to go to and from the fucking ancient city, because when you land in Turkey or when you pull up to the port, you're in the city called Kusadasi, right? The ancient city of Ephesus is like a 20-30 minute drive inland. And so it was just like $50 per taxi, because we took 2 taxis to go there, and it was in between 8 of us, so we just split it, and it was fucking hella cheap. And the best food we had on the trip was in Turkey, bro.
What was it?
Dude, it was like a kebab platter. It was a kebab platter. It was so sick with just a bunch of meat, different meats, um, some fruits and vegetables, and we had this giant pita bread that we all like shared, and with this like crazy dipping sauce and stuff like that. And at literally while they were bringing us the food in this like special pot that burns and cooks the meat inside, and they crack it open in front of you. Literally, as that was happening, there was a mosque next to us, and they started doing like the call to prayer. It was such an
Wow.
epic scene, bro. It was like something out of a movie.
Sounds like an
Um,
Assassin's Creed fucking scene,
like
bro.
very Assassin's Creed esque, bro. It was so sick.
You probably got like
Um,
heebie-jeebies, like, oh shit,
no,
bro.
bro, like I got goosebumps. That shit was sick. That shit was sick. But yeah, bro, it was a great time, great vacation.
How long was that in total? 2 weeks?
Um, it
That
was
was a cruise, right?
yeah, it was a cruise. It must have been like 12 days in total
Oh, okay.
from going because we got to Rome a day early. So just to explore the city. So that was
Nice,
sick.
nice.
Yeah, bro.
And I gotta ask, bro. I see you're a little bit red. You're a little flushed out right now. Was that from Europe or something else?
No, no. Well, I can't. Well, I did get a shit ton of sun in Europe, but I came back from Europe and we went to Naples Beach and just had a good time over the weekend.
So,
4th of
what
July.
was the transition? Like, you got back from Europe, and like a day later, you went to the beach.
So we got back from Europe. I was supposed to work, but bro, I got like this respiratory fucking infection. Like all of us started having coughs and fucking chills and shit. So we were like, oh fuck, maybe one of us has COVID or something. So we did PCRs. I couldn't go to work those 3 days, and we did PCRs, whatever, and we all ended up being negative. Just I guess it was just a viral flu or some shit like that. I don't know. Um, still have like a little residual effects of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but then after that, we just went to Naples and we just enjoyed the beach for the weekend.
Nice, man.
And so I got a shit ton of sun, bro. Like I'm
So
burnt.
you guys were just beachside each day?
Literally each day we'd wake up, we'd go to the beach. We'd be there for a couple hours, then we'd go to the pool at the crib, and we'd go to bed and we'd repeat, step and repeat.
Dude,
So,
that sounds like a nice detox from like all the traveling and shit. Then you just like chilling. I'm sure you guys had some nice food too.
yeah, I mean, we pretty much just we did some groceries and we just cooked at home and ate at home and shit. So
Oh, okay. Are you, when
nothing
you're saying
crazy.
home, like home at your house or like
No, we rented a house
like an Airbnb?
on like an Airbnb right on the beach, and so we did that. It was a great property, fucking massive land property, like with a nice ass pool. It was sick. In between all of us, it was like there's 8 of us, so
Dude,
badass, bro.
that sounds like and now you're back on the work grind, I assume.
Now on the work grind, I work tomorrow,
Mhm.
so getting hyped for that. You know what I mean? Get back on the passing pill grind. It is what it is, bro.
Wiping asses. I feel you, bro.
Nah. We don't do any of that shit here, bro.
Alright.
Come on, big dog. Come on.
Nah, I'm just fucking with you, bro.
Nah, we do it if we have to, but
Emergencies.
you know how it is. Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Of course.
Surprise guest appearance.
What a homie.
Well, what's up with you, bro? How you been?
Dude, I've been doing all right, bro. A lot better. It's
Since we last did a pod,
yeah. Where did we leave off with that? Where was I at, bro?
bro. 2 months ago, since we last did a pod, it was the abortion pod with Aliona.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
what like I know a lot. It just feels like it's been more time than that, and I feel like a lot has happened with you specifically. So
Yeah,
I mean,
bro.
as much as you want to share, bro.
I don't mind. I'm an open book, bro. Call me Dr.
As
Seuss.
much as you want to share.
Am, bro. Nah, real talk. It's been close to 2 months since our last episode. So I went through a breakup. Still single, still rocking it. It's been a huge transition, not only from like the whole breakup perspective, because I was with her for 2 years, but for me specifically, it's actually been the mental change that's happened over the past 2 months. It's been the perspective of like you have to find yourself, right? After you break up with someone after so long, you have to rediscover who you are. You compromise throughout a relationship, and sometimes you lose a little bit of yourself along the way. And I've been finding myself through that. Being single, you really have to self-reflect, and you have a lot of long nights where you're contemplating and thinking. Excuse me. And long story short, I've been just going out nonstop, bro. I've been playing volleyball like 3 times a week. I met this amazing group of people that are welcoming. They have their own private volleyball court. It's sand. They have a lake in the back, and they were throwing parties. They'll take out their boat, and we'll just go to the lake and like chill in the lake. Like it's been a nice, relaxing summer, bro, and active as hell, man. I've been hitting the gym 4 to 5 times a week with this whole volleyball thing going on. Can't keep doing 6 days a week when, dude, after a day of volleyball, my legs are fried, bro. You're jumping, you're running in sand.
especially in the
It's
sand.
in sand, yeah, man. So like, it's been an adjustment trying to balance the gym and the volleyball life, but it's been fun, man. It's been fun. I've met a ton of people that, dude, over the past year, I've been a little more introverted. Like I didn't go out as much. I wasn't partying or anything like that. But over the past month or so, I've been going out. I visited 2 different campuses, and I live in the Central Florida area. So I was able to visit UCF and USF, and I got to tour the schools and like see the history behind it and all the different buildings. I
Hell yeah.
dude, it's been fun, bro. It's hard. It's hard to make that adjustment to go from being in a relationship to single and rediscovering yourself. But it's a lot better now. I've made a bunch of friends. I've done a lot of fun things that I didn't think I was going to be able to do in Orlando. Because when you move to a new location, you don't meet people right away. If you're not going to school or you don't have a climate or an atmosphere of meeting people your age, it's hard to make friends, especially as we get older. But bro, it just from some stroke of good fortune, I was able to meet a bunch of people, and everyone's wholesome, bro. The owner of this volleyball place, he's like in his 60s. He's worked at Disney for like 35 years. He's a homie, bro. He's like he loves having people over as long as you're respectful and like you pay your due, right? Like if you're drinking alcohol the whole time, just fill it back up, right? He has a fridge where everyone has free access to it.
What
And
the fuck?
dude, he's a homie, bro. And that culture that he developed from his own perspective, like accepting and loving and caring and like everyone trying to have a good time, it's formed into this huge group who everyone has the same mindset. No one's trying to fight each other. No one's being toxic like in Miami, bro. It's like, oh, you guys want to play volleyball? Oh, you guys want to go to the lake? Let's go, man. Bring a beer. Let's go. We'll have some fun. It's like where was this, bro? Like, and that's like leading into our actual topic, right? So today, I specifically wanted to talk about like framing your mental perspective, finding and framing your perspective. And
Sick, bro.
this specifically, right? This whole idea of like how your attitude cultivates. Yo, what's up?
Uh,
I got you. I got you. Yo, take over for a second,
all
Leroy. Hold
right,
on.
go ahead, bro. It's been a minute, guys. We're getting back online. Uh, but yeah, man, the trip was crazy. Like for everybody still listening, dude, I went to in Rome specifically. You know, I'm big into stoicism and following all that sort of stuff, and just seeing, you know, oh hold up, is Eric back? All right,
No, continue
I
your
was just
thought,
finishing
bro.
this point. Just finishing
Yeah,
this
please,
point. Where
please go ahead.
basically,
Go ahead.
bro, I remember standing on Capitoline Hill and taking the picture with Marcus, and I was just like, dude, like at the same time, on one hand, I was like in awe, and at the same time, I was like having some dissonance because I was like, Marcus, didn't give a shit about any of this. Like he didn't care about being. He thought he was gonna be forgotten, never remembered. Like all the emperors of the past. Like who gives a shit? Like do the best that you can while you're alive. What good is posthumous fame? It's fucking. Nobody cares. You're gonna be dead. It's not gonna affect you in any way. Shit like that. So I was having like that sort of dissonance at the same time as I was like in awe of being in fucking Rome. So
Do you think it was like an oxymoron almost? Like, why
it
am
was
I
sort of a bit of a
thinking
contradiction. Yeah,
exactly?
a bit of a contradiction because he talks about like, bro, don't. Who cares about what people think about you? Who cares about how you're gonna be remembered? Think about the emperors in the past. All of them are dead. There's no trace of them. You know what I mean? You're gonna be the same way. All right. So just what you can do is live according to nature, live in the best life that you can live, be as virtuous as you can be, help as many people as you can help, have as good of an impact as you can have. And that's it. There's nothing else. So, I
I
was
feel
thinking
like
about that.
that's a lot easier said than done, though. Let's
Yeah,
be real.
it's and even he himself, he had to constantly remind himself, and he's like God on earth. So at that moment, he's literally like God on earth, like has control over everybody's lives, and he's reminding himself of these things. So it's just, you know, people like you and me, bro. That's the best we can do, you know. And there's varying levels, right? So anyway, bro. Hey, continue your point, bro. So the
Oh yeah,
volleyball.
volleyball. Yeah, it's the mental perspective, the mental shaping of what I've gone through in the past 2 short months, pretty much less than 2 months. It's been enlightening, bro. Because I know I think I mentioned this in an earlier episode, but I was in a pretty dark place around like the winter time, January, February, that range. I was depressed. I was down. All the stuff, bro. I was dreading work. I was depressed. I was not trying to be proactive in fixing my condition. It was just a grind. It was a struggle, and I would provide like I would just have self pity, like, oh, this sucks, man. It sucks. I have this mental problem, but I wouldn't make the active steps to fix it. And part of that is because you're in that state, right? Like you're crippled. You're mentally crippled. But over these past 2 months, even though I was trending towards the same way, I made active strides from just learning from other people, right? There's the owner that I was speaking about earlier at the volleyball field, right? Who owns the house and the crib and all that. He was talking to me. We were having a one-on-one chat, and he's like, "You know what, man? It's sometimes you just gotta appreciate the little things, man. You gotta appreciate the fact that you have an amazing time, you have people chilling with you, you have good company, you have a nice lake, and you're hanging out with people who have the same values as you." And it's like, wow, man, I've been trying to think of this whole like big brain perspective of like, oh man, I got to get a great paying job. I have to like, I want to climb, I want to be, and that's all great, right? Like you should be ambitious, but to make that your sole focus could have huge ramifications on your mental health. And I think it's good to have a bit of a balance to appreciate the small things while also having a frame of mind that's guiding you towards success and being a more disciplined person.
Dude, I agree with you 100% in terms of like appreciating the small things. And I think that the you don't appreciate that as much until like some of the small things are missing. And I was reading an article. I forgot what it was exactly I was reading, but it was like, you know, someone who's in the hospital that's sick. You know, you're worried about, oh, my job doesn't I'm getting paid $10 instead of $12, or I'm getting paid $50 instead of $60. When someone who's in the hospital is just worried about like, hey, I just want to be able to breathe. You know, hey, I just want to, you know, wake up and not be, you know, in pain type thing. So it's like shit that we take for granted are actually the most important things that you could possibly have in your life. Like, bro, there's people. So, bro, sometimes I think I catch myself bitching about like the dumbest things, like, oh, I have to go fucking drive to this fucking place, bro. Like, if you were to reframe your perspective as to like, dude, I get to do all these things because I'm healthy enough to be able to do them. I don't know. Recently, I've been on this like, bro, health is the most important thing you could possibly have in your life. Like nothing else fucking matters. Because if you're not healthy, not only from a physical perspective, but also from a mental perspective, if you're not healthy, dude, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter how much bread you have. It doesn't matter how much fucking how many, you know, how many bitches or whatever. It does nothing else matters.
Mm-hmm.
Health is the most important thing. Think about Steve Jobs. Don't you think he would have traded all his fucking bread to just not have fucking pancreatic cancer right there at the end?
I'm sure
A
you would have.
hundred percent, a
Sure.
100%, bro. And it's shit like that we take for granted, bro. And I'm not saying that that means you should ignore your situation and like not strive to improve. And of course, there's things we can do better in our lives. But bro, there's so many people in the world who are walking 7 miles a day just to get water to bring back to their village. That it's just like, bro, I think about that all the time when I'm like complaining and bitching about things. It's like you're so incredibly blessed.
Yeah. No, no, for sure.
And
For
that
sure.
that I think that helps bring perspective and recenter at least myself.
Just to provide a little kickback for you. Even though I agree with you, I do. Humans are just humans by nature, right? They're always gonna try to strive to be better, right? So in the sense of like being in the hospital and you're just trying to get healthy, like of course that is your main perspective. But you ever get into a rhythm and a rhyme, and like you're working and you're trying to improve, and like your mainframe, your mindset conforms, because that's the environment you're in now, right? Like you're not fighting for your life, now you're fighting for a promotion. And to be a human and to like strive for excellence and like in a competitive market, right? Like you're going to start putting yourself and imagining these scenarios, and you're going to struggle, not the same way as a health concern, obviously not. I'm not trying to compare it, but you're going to compare yourself to others. You're going to strive for excellence. And if you're striving for excellence, you have to put a huge importance on what you're trying to achieve, right? If you're just like, well, I'm happy for my health, and I'm happy I could do these things, that's gratitude, and that's great. But when you're like trying to get that next promotion, or you're trying to win that girl over, whatever it is, you're competing as if it's as serious. Because if you're not, then you're not putting 100% effort in, right? So that's how I see it, is like, I feel like the whole like, oh, my great grandfather had to walk 7 miles to school. I'm like, dude, that shit sucked, bro. I feel for you. But we got our own struggles right now, bro. We
100%.
we got our own struggles, and not to downplay your situation, but don't condescend onto ours. Yours was a physical
100%.
struggle. Ours is more of a mental struggle,
Yeah, and I
a
think
financial
that
struggle.
yeah, 100%. I think it can get too far one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And even for, bringing it back to Marcus, he himself would have these sorts of struggles, and, like, things that we can't possibly relate to, because he was the emperor of Rome in ancient Rome, you know what I mean? So but even he himself had struggles where he would be dealing with shit, and he would have to constantly remind himself, like, hey, remember, you're going to be dealing with shit. Even though you're the most powerful guy in the fucking land, people are still going to be dickheads. People have been dickheads for years. For all of humanity, people have always been lying, deceptive, whatever. He would list out a bunch of things, and he'd be like, so, this is your struggle. These are things that you're going through. This is how you should deal with it. Other things shouldn't really matter too much, stuff like that. So even from that perspective, you know what I mean? Like, everyone has their own fight. And the question is, how are you framing it, and how are you moving through it? You know what I mean? Um,
Agreed.
so, for example, thinking about, the example that you put, how, like, you're trying to get a better job, you're trying to strive and get a promotion. That's great. And if everything else is running on full cylinders, or that's something that you're focusing on, then that's gonna seem like the biggest fight of your life, right? Like the most important thing. Like, if that doesn't happen, everything else is fucked. And I think I think I think we should do that, but I also think we shouldn't. We should be grateful and not get too caught up in it, right?
Exactly. A
So
balance. A
so it's
balance.
finding that balance, and striking that balance is very hard, and it's always going to be hard. You know what I mean? So I think one of the things we can do, a good strategy at least, is be practice gratitude. Like, actually practice gratitude. Like, literally write out or think to yourself or say out loud the things that you're grateful for, and the things that you're genuinely grateful for. You know what I mean? Not just like because you're doing a bullshit exercise, but genuinely, what are you grateful for?
Bro,
You know what I
there's,
mean?
just to add to that, like, well, first of all, that's part of our topic, right? Like, showing gratitude is setting a frame of mind for like how you should look at life, right? But more specifically, an example I could fully relate to, and I keep going back to this whole volleyball thing because it's been so amazing. There are guys in our group who are like in their 50s and 60s now, and they're still in good shape, right? They're not overweight, they're not like, they they're not in the best shape, but they're not bad, right? And they could really only play like one game a day, or once they play a game they can't play for another week type shit. And that to me is like, damn, I'm lucky. I'm even though I'm a little overweight, I'm lucky that I'm physically able to play 7 games of volleyball straight, go to sleep, and then the next day play volleyball again. Because there's gonna come a point in a time in our lives, unless we're Greek gods, bro, and like start taking some roids and some SARMs or whatever. Like, you're gonna get to 50s and 60s, and you're not gonna be able to do those things again. You're gonna have a messed up knee. You're gonna have a bad back, all that good stuff. So
100%, bro.
it's good to show gratitude even in the small stuff. Like, damn, I'm grateful to be able to play volleyball. I'm grateful to be able to go to the gym and lift weight because I just find so much fun out of it, bro. Maybe
Exactly,
one
bro.
day when I'm in my 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore, bro.
100%. It's gonna be a struggle. You know what I mean?
But anyway,
So
let's reel this in a little bit. Let's focus on let's focus a little bit more on self-improvement here, because this goes hand in hand with like setting your mind, your mindset and your frame of mind. I personally have had this issue over the past year where I've had a very negative perception on life and like just making excuses, and I have friends that do the same thing, bro. Like they won't have any luck with girls. They'll blame it on the girls, or they'll blame it on the fact that it's uncontrollable, like out of their own terms, right? And I've done like a complete 180 on that. And I'm like, yo, whatever I'm not getting, I have the power to control. I'm not religious, bro. I believe in the power of like yourself. I believe in like if you want to make something happen in life, obviously like there's limits, right? But the idea is like if you want to make something happen in life, you yourself have the power to do it. It's just a matter of like putting in the work and trying your best and making sure that you're wholesome and you're a respectable human. And like I think you could have a good life with that ideology. But more specifically, over this past like 2 months, I've had friends come to me and like, because I've been dating after breaking up, and I've had a couple of my friends be like, "Yo, how are you getting matches? How are you going on these dates?" And I'm like, "Dude, like it's simple, bro. I know we're gonna get into this topic a little bit more, but I've personally been listening to this audiobook called The Unplugged Alpha, and that audiobook like touches upon a lot of like the perception on male versus females, the whole dating scene, what a male should be striving for in terms of like success and looks and finances and all that good stuff. And while I don't agree with the whole book, I think there's a lot of stoicism in that book in terms of like taking responsibility, not complaining about the situation you're in, right? Like going back to my friends who are complaining about not being able to get girls, like, what are you doing to fix this issue, bro? Are you getting shredded? Are you getting ripped? Like, are you getting better at games? Are you able to talk to girls and like actually be smooth? Are you working on those things? And the answer is no. Then it's not on the girls, bro. It's on you. And so I don't know, man. It's a really fun topic that I want to dive into. But what is your opinion on the whole like taking accountability in
dude,
this dating scene, for example?
have you ever you know Jocko Willink?
The Yeah, he's like ripped, right? He's like shredded.
He's a retired Navy SEAL, right? And he's
He's
built
on
like a tank.
YouTube.
Yeah,
He's on YouTube.
he's got a podcast. He's reading books, and as you were describing that, all I could think about was Jocko wrote a book called Extreme Ownership. This guy's a retired Navy SEAL. He led a SEAL team in fucking Ramadi in the battle, and he was deployed overseas. The guy's obviously extremely decorated, great leader. He's got a great podcast, been on Joe Rogan, Tim Ferriss, etc. Bro, like he wrote a book about extreme ownership where he's like, everything that's in your control, you know, it's hard to accept that everything is in your control or that most things are in your control. Because if you were to accept that, then that means that it's in your power to change it and
Yeah,
that it's fucking 100% your
and
responsibility and
and
your
it's
fault.
hard as fuck. Let's be real
And
here. It's
it's
hard as
hard
fuck.
to take that sort of accountability, that extreme ownership of your situation. It's because it sort of condemns you in a bit, right? Like it's very easy to just be like, bro, fuck, these girls, bro, like they just don't understand me, you know.
You know what I think? This is getting a little off topic here, so reel me in if you have to, bro.
Go ahead.
But I think a lot of this, like this whole mindset and like self-improvement and striving, like taking accountability, I take a lot of influence actually from video games. And so like when I was playing League of Legends, when we were playing League of Legends, we were top 1% in North America, right? To
Right.
get to the top 1% in North America, unless you're a fucking savant, bro, like you had to put in hours, you had to be self-critical, you had to understand that like, oh well, fuck, I got caught out there. I died because I made a mistake. And for some reason, I wasn't applying that same logic to life for a while now, bro. And then once I like switched my mindset to like a more game oriented mindset of like, all right, well, I'm overweight. How do I fix that, bro? All right, I gotta go to the gym. I gotta lose weight. All right, bro, I'm broke. How do I fix that? All right, you gotta fucking work. You gotta make money. You gotta hustle. And it's like once you sort of understand that there's clear-cut answers, and all you have to do is admit to yourself that you have a problem, right? You have to admit to yourself that you can take accountability for it. Once it's almost enlightening in a way. It's like, dude, instead of being fucking self-deprecating, instead of being a little, excuse my language, a little bitch, now there's like, all right, well, bro, like you're fucking 50 pounds overweight. How are you gonna fix that? Are you gonna fix that? Because no one else can fix that for you. And I like that, bro. It's sort of like life has a lot of non-answers, but to find some answers and to have them easily applied to improving your life, it's enlightening to me, bro.
100%, bro. And you're totally right. And I don't think you've gone too far off the road. I mean, I think it fits perfectly into the topic. Bro, like, if there's an issue in your life, step one is analyzing what is the problem, identifying the root cause, bro. And then once you identify the root cause, you can then intervene and treat that root cause. It's like it's just like in medicine. In Western medicine, a lot of the times we just treat symptoms. We don't treat root cause issues. So, for example, with diabetes and fucking insulin resistance in general, metabolic disease, the root cause, of course, nobody would deny this, is your diet, exercise, your lifestyle. But when you go to the doctor and you fucking have these issues, they don't tell you, hey, get on the fucking, go outside, get some sun, get vitamin D, fix your diet, only eat this, stop eating this, cut this shit out, and get to the gym 3 times a week. Instead, they tell you, here, take this pill. It's going to help you, treat your symptom. Bro, it's just like in life. What's the root cause of being overweight? You're probably eating too much. You have some fucking metabolic dysfunction. You got to fix that. That's fixable. This is a solution, right?
Yeah.
What's the root cause of your mental health being poor? Well, are you meditating? How many video games are you playing?
Dude, I haven't meditated in a while, bro. I'll be honest with you, bro.
I haven't either, bro. Like, it's been a while since I've meditated, and it's been in the back of my mind, like, bro, I need to start meditating, because when you fall off the wagon, you feel the effects of falling off the wagon. And root cause analysis and intervention at that level is the best form of fixing whatever problem you have. So if we were to take extreme ownership, like, bro, why haven't we done a fucking podcast in 2 months? You know what I mean?
I would say that's like 80% our fault, 20% fucking you're on vacation, bro.
Yeah, there are circumstances for sure.
There are
Not everything is
circumstances,
in your control. Not
of
everything is in your
course.
control.
But
But
80% is a huge,
95% of it probably is, bro.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, 90. I would say 90. That's fair.
And so doing a root cause analysis and then intervening, that's the only way for you to resolve shit, bro. Because otherwise you're just, you have an infection, you're treating the fever. You're not treating the infection. You know what I mean? So
In my defense, by the way, for everyone who's watching, dude, this was a lot on me. The whole month and a half hiatus, like that was on me more so than Leroy. Dude, it's hard to go through a podcast and act energetic and fucking in the moment when you're going through a huge breakup. You know what I mean? And so
yeah,
I told Leroy that in private. I was like, yo, bro, it's kind of hard right now to do
100%.
everything with everything on your mind. And like at the time, it's
100%, bro. People
I
go
take
through shit.
responsibility. Yeah, I take responsibility, like ownership, right? Like that was my fault. But you know what? Having a good fucking co-host, bro, that means they understand, man. And the whole goal is to get back on track. And that's what we're here today to do.
100%, bro. And just having, like, just taking accountability and taking ownership of that is fucking great. Like, I myself, bro, like, I could have pushed you more, but like, Eric, where the fuck are you? Like, stop being a bitch, let's get into it, whatever. But, I would be lying to myself if I said, like, okay, I'm just gonna give Eric his time. I'm gonna focus on doing other shit, whatever. You know what I mean? So everyone has their role to play, bro.
Of course.
And it's the same way in life and in self-improvement, like you were saying, and whatever it is you want to do. You control the controllables. And the uncontrollables, don't fucking worry about it. And that's what Stoicism is about. Don't worry about the uncontrollables. Control what you can control.
Dude, that's a great dude. I wasn't fully on board with Stoicism at first. Like I understood it and I respected the ideology behind it, but like I didn't buy I didn't get into the mantra. Like I didn't absorb the content. Like I listened or I heard it, but I didn't listen. And while like I incorporate a bunch of different ideologies on my own mindset, Stoicism is definitely one of them, bro. And it's provided a lot of clarity and understanding that like, bro, life's gonna pass anyway, bro. Whether you do whatever the fuck you want to do. Oh, we actually have a comment here.
All right, go ahead, finish your thought.
Oh, anyway, sorry. Yeah, so no matter what you want to do, right? Whether it's like you're fucking eating shit for 5 years. Like I have a friend, I'm not gonna name names, but my friend has been trying to like be a music producer for like 10 years now, bro. And in the past 5 years that I've known him as a friend, I've never once heard a sample of what he's been trying to do. I've asked, like, yo, let me hear something. Let me hear something, bro. Let me see what you're at. Never seen it, never heard of it. And that dude to this day still is trying to do it. And I'm like, bro, but can you not take self accountability? Like, bro, you're not putting out content. Like, you're not pushing yourself. And like, why aren't you changing your mindset? Why aren't you trying to change something? And the answer is like, some people can't, bro. Some people can't have the self reflection. If everyone had this like stoicism mindset, I'm not saying this is the holy grail of fucking mindsets, but if everyone was able to take accountability, bro, over 50% of Americans are overweight, bro. That means 50% of people in an ideal world would be like, yo, I'm fucking overweight. What am I doing to myself?
I think the
How
number
am
is
I going
70
to
now.
fix this? Is it
I
70?
think it's 70% of Americans are overweight or obese.
That is fucking crazy, bro. 70% of people. And I'm in that category, bro. I'm overweight. I'm
So am
on it.
I.
I'm fixing it. I'm
So am
fixing
I,
it. But
bro.
yeah. But the idea is like, dude, that's 70% of our adult population who, whether I'm not saying all of them are not taking accountability, but a good chunk aren't, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's actually wild. I'm trying to see if I can quickly look up some statistics here. Um,
And that goes back also while you're looking up. That also goes back to what you were saying earlier about the whole like diabetes, right? Like overweight, obesity is a huge cause of condition for diabetes. And if someone is proactive in trying to fix that before it, like preventative is always better than finding or fixing the solution when it's already too late, right? And the idea is that like there's a bunch of health concerns involved with being overweight, heart issues, diabetes, blood issues. Oh my God, there's so much. Like,
check it out. Nearly one. This is from the
pull it up.
National Institute of. Oh, here, I'll share it on screen here. Check out these statistics. It's fucking scary to think about. Overweight and obesity statistics from the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases. Check this out. Prevalence of overweight and obesity in adults, in U.S. adults. Nearly 1 in 3 adults are overweight. More than 1 in 3 men and more than 1 in 4 women are overweight. More than 2 in 5 adults have obesity, including severe obesity. About 1 in 11 adults have severe obesity. And then it's ranked up here. Here are the percentiles, and then here's BMI. Severe obesity is 40 plus, 30 plus would be obesity, 25 to 29 overweight, 18.5 to 24.9 normal or healthy weight. That's just crazy to think about, dude.
Yeah,
Those
no,
those are insane numbers. You know, this
insane,
shit.
bro.
This is a disease of industrialized first world countries. Because you don't see these numbers in like the Hadza tribes or in fucking.
There's not fucking 10 McDonald's parked outside your crib in the tribes, bro.
And we could talk about like why that is and what are the factors surrounding that. But 100% of the time, you have control over the food you put in your mouth. Yes or no?
100%.
Right. And of course, you could say, well, if I don't eat this McDonald's, I don't eat anything because there's nothing else for 20 miles.
Then it's
I'm
portion
sure.
control, bro.
I'm sure I'm sure there's that, but then we got to take a look at, how much of that McDonald's are you eating? Shit like that. It always comes back to you, bro. Oh, here, let me end the screen share here. All right, let's see a few of these comments. What we got going on? Welcome to the stream, boys. ADHD podcast. Yo, guys, I do a podcast called the ADHD Podcast, and I would love to collab with you guys. Hey, hit us up on socials, bro.
Yeah, bro. We're always down for a collaboration. Just hit us up.
Hit us up on social media.
And what's the second one?
My boy Jose.
Yo.
70% of y'all getting no pussy. Come on, beta.
Yo, but I mean, very vulgar, but very true, bro.
Very vulgar, very true. There's a Walmart and Publix anywhere.
There's a statistic that like 20% of men on Tinder get 80% of the women.
dude. And that's part of the unplugged alpha that you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I've read the book.
Hmm.
Um, there was a study done. Let me see if I can pull it up here, where it was like 95% of swipes done by girls are negative, like to the left, and then 5% of swipes are to the right. In other words, they swipe left 95% of the time, as opposed to guys who are more broke. It's more broken down, like 50-50. Let me see.
Just hold on to that thought real quick while I add to this. So like earlier, we are talking about mindset and like framing perspective. There's two ways I've noticed most of my guy friends go about reacting to this statistic, right? The first one is, oh, fuck these women, bro. Like, dude, they don't give guys a chance. Like, why are they only picking 5% of males when they're not as pretty anyways, or whatever it is, right? Like, if 95% of girls are swiping on 5% of guys, that means that 5% of guys are in the top percentile, right? Like they're fucking good looking, they have money, et cetera, et cetera. But that doesn't mean that 95% of girls are in that criteria. No, it's not true. But guys will look at us like, fuck women, they're not giving regular guys like us a chance, even though they're not better than us. And I think that's the flawed mentality, bro.
It's the flawed
I think
mentality, bro.
I think the correct mentality is like, yo, they have options, bro. Like if you as a guy had the ability to pick like 10 different jobs and all these jobs pay amazing and you have an amazing like fucking workforce management and like you love what you do and you have the option to pick between one of them.
Hold on, bro. Give me a second. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll
Keep
just
it going.
continue this thought while you're paused. If you have the option to pick between all of them, right, you're going to be a lot more selective. You're going to be like, oh, what does this job provide for me? What's the financial incentive? What's the like what are my pros and cons, right? Girls on Tinder or Bumble or Hinge or whatever you want to talk about, right? Whatever app you're referencing, those girls have those same options now. It's a female dominated app in terms of like the power dynamic, the power struggle. And I don't blame them for being selective because if the roles were reversed, we'd do the same shit. So instead of complaining about it, instead of venting and the struggles and oh man, girls ain't shit. It's like, yo, get to that top percentile. Like, what are you doing, bro? Hit the gym, make some bread, fucking hustle, bro. And then you could reap the rewards of having access to 95% of the women, if that's what you want.
100%, bro. Because they're operating from a abundance mindset.
And we have a
Meanwhile, guys
scarcity.
are operating from a scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Check out this statistic that I pulled up here. I'm going to share it on screen.
Let me see it. Yo, Jose, I love you, bro. Keep popping off, bro.
Look at this. Median user daily swipes by gender. Look at females, bro.
Damn, you know what? I'm actually surprised by the second bar, bro. I feel
What,
like
the
a lot of
5%?
guys, the second one where it's the 53% swipe right and then the 47 swipe left. I'm actually surprised by that because I know a lot of guys who will like just spam swipe right,
We'll just
like
swipe right on everything.
because it's a numbers game, right? Like if you, it's not a bad strategy, right? If you know 95% of girls are only swiping on 5% of the guys, then you have to go for the low hanging fruit, right? Like in terms of Tinder, right? Like you can't be picky going for the very 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 pretty girls if you're not in that category.
Exactly, dude. And so this just goes to show you like the level of selectivity these girls have.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, guys are just happy to get whatever they can get, type thing. You know what I mean? Because we
I,
know that
I,
girl,
I think that's simplifying it a little bit. I don't think
but
I'm personally not happy for like
it's a read. It's a potential read in situation. Like
yeah.
we know that women operate from hypergamy. And what is hypergamy? It's they're trying to date better than them, trying to date
Mhm.
either equal or higher. And we know that guys don't give a shit. They operate from if she's hot, that's it.
I,
You
w-
know what I
I,
mean?
w-
Nothing else
I would
matters.
add to that and say actually probably most guys don't want to date. I don't want to generalize, right? I would say a good portion of guys wouldn't want to date someone who's much higher than them in class or like values or finances because it's intimidating for a lot of guys to be in that dynamic of being perceived as like a beta, for example.
Right. 100%. So this just goes to show you, it illustrates the point that we were talking about. But brother,
Hold on, we got some more comments. Pull it up,
Oh,
bro.
we got some more comments. Here we go. So Jose Brejio, of course, he said there's a Walmart and Publix anywhere in response to our comment about like if there's food issues or whatever. Of course, most places there's options, bro. It's very hard. I challenge people to pull up a scenario where it's like I'm sure they exist, bro, but there gotta be extremely few and far between where it's like you don't have options or you can't eat better food. And then women look at dating apps like food menus. Any guy will go get free box. I mean, there is some truth to that, bro. There
There's
is some
some
truth
truth
to
to
that.
it. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Just to go back on that previous point, the whole there's a Walmart and Publix anywhere. Bro, like if you're taking it to like a huge like level and like you're trying to eat the healthiest foods, like yeah, of course, man. But even if you're just trying to practice cycle, right, which is calories in, calories out, you technically could go to like Wendy's, you could go to McDonald's. But if you're counting calories and you're portion controlling your food, you could still lose weight. And so I don't even like find the whole like, oh, there's no healthy food. Like, bro, just discipline yourself. Stop fucking overeating. Like it's not that hard. Like mentally it's hard. But if you discipline yourself and you try to improve, it shouldn't be that hard to change your mindset over time.
Yeah,
Because
there's
it's more mental than physical.
yeah. Actually, think like let's explore that a little bit because I watched a video where a guy was talking about like part of the fact that you're overweight and you're obese is because you have poor mental health. In other
Agreed.
words, you indulge in these foods and you just fucking start eating and you don't have control, whatever, because it makes you feel good. When in reality, where you should be feeling good is in other areas. You shouldn't be looking for that in food. You know what I mean? Like how many like the term comfort food is a thing, right? And the reason why it's a thing is because of this exact issue. Like
Oh, agreed.
I
100%.
myself have experienced just eating because I'm bored, bro. Like, have you ever experienced that where it's just like, oh, I'm bored, whatever, let me grab a fucking
Bro,
bite of something.
I don't get to the weight I was at by not experiencing that. You feel me?
Yeah,
But
like,
yes, I have. I have.
or just grabbing something to drink, something's as simple as that. Over time, that compounds into the fucking pounds, bro. So fix the mental health, and you fix everything else.
And you know what? Like there's like going to this whole like taking accountability. There's gonna be times where you're gonna sabotage your diet, right? Like for you, for example, you went to Europe, bro. You're gonna
Yeah,
try some delicious ass food. And you know
yeah,
what? I don't think you should have to restrain yourself. Like,
100%.
but when you get back, that's when you gotta fucking lock up again. You gotta lock down. You gotta be all right, bro. I had my fun. I enjoyed some delicious food. I know my body's now getting used to all this consumption, but I have to mentally discipline myself to not allow it to happen again.
Yeah, nobody's perfect 100% of the time.
Of
The
course.
question is, are you able to are you able to hit the right thing that you need to hit 80, 90% of the time? You know what I mean? And with that, you're going to be set. You're going to be solid.
Agreed. Agreed.
Uh,
Yeah, and the whole like women going back, we're jumping back and forth a little bit, but just we missed the comment earlier. The whole women looking at dating apps like food menus. Yeah, I think it's a little simplistic, right? But the idea is that like yeah, they have a lot of options. Guys, it's like a twofold issue, right? First of all, they have a lot of options, right? The girls do. And in the guy's perspective, they're allowing girls to control the dynamic, right? In an indirect way. So I'll give you an example. I don't like putting numbers on girls. Like I don't like rating girls in that type of category. But let's say there's an okay looking girl, right? Like she's average looking, she's not too pretty, she's not too hot. If if the more handsome dudes who she's trying to pick up, right? Because remember, they swipe no on 95% and they swipe yes on 5% on the really handsome dudes. If that 5% of men just stonewalled them, right? They're like, no, I don't fuck with that, bro. Like, I don't. Then the power dynamic would change. But because of the scarcity effect and the abundance of options women have right now, the dudes who are like very good looking dudes who are making a shit ton of money, they're okay with hooking up with an okay average looking girl because bro, that this guy is competing with 100 guys for the same girl or whatever it is. And so it's like twofold, right? It's like girls are using the power they have, which I 100% respect, and guys aren't pushing back on that power. which is why this is keep escalating, and it's getting worse and worse. Worse, I guess, for guys' perspective, right? Really good for girls' perspective. And so
I think one thing to understand about that is what the goals are of the two genders, right? What are guys after and what are girls after? And then that will sort of inform why these behaviors that we're seeing occur, or we can at least have some insight into it. So, if what are guys looking for when they're on dating apps, when they're interacting, not in every scenario, of course, but when they're having these interactions with females, right?
men are more physically enticed.
So what are guys looking for? They're looking for girls who are attractive, and that's pretty much it, right? There's not much else there. What are girls looking for? They're looking for dudes who
Attractive.
are attractive, one,
And
that they have good lifestyle, that it looks like they'll have fun with them, that they can probably provide some sort of protection, provisioning, security, etc. to them. So they have this whole laundry list of things, and that's why they're extremely selective, because not only are they looking for this whole laundry list, the people who are looking for them don't have that laundry list. In other words, while they're looking for one person, they're being sought after by 10 other people. In other words, they have a massive choice that they can take, where it's like in your job example, you're applying for a job and 10 companies want to hire you and they all want to give you everything they have. You know what I mean? So you're going to be like, all right, you're going to really weigh your options and be like, hey, which one is going to be best for me? And that's totally natural. I'm not saying that, not complaining about that. The question is, how do you respond to that, and how should you operate, understanding that that's how things work? How should you as a guy operate in that sort of environment? That's really the key, right? And I think probably the best thing you can do is to simply become the best version of yourself, because then then you're going to be the person who they're going after, basically.
and it's a bait too, right? Like a lot of guys will be like, all right, well then I just got to get better looking for these girls, or I got to get a better job for these girls. You should never have your priorities on a girl.
It's not for the girls.
It's for yourself. It's for self-improvement. It's for reaching greater heights. It's for the self-satisfaction of knowing you pushed yourself and you achieved something that you didn't know you could do.
The girl is a byproduct of that.
Exactly. It's
one of the things that comes with
reward you get for getting that far.
It's like the side quest reward, but the main quest, tying it back to video games, the main quest is you getting there, and the self-actualization of you being the best version of yourself and living a healthy life and being in alignment with nature and living according to nature, and having things that, your mental health is great, your physical health is great, you have a great job, you have a great family, great friends, relationships. A byproduct of that is girls are going to want to come into your life and be part of that. How do you feel about the idea that girls don't build with you, they move in? You have to have the kingdom established before and then they come in and they participate in it, as opposed to build with you.
Bro,
what do you think about that?
I don't want to generalize, but before we get into that, I just want to make a comment of the most amount of times I've ever been hit on as a guy, and this holds true for like all my past relationships. I'm usually hit on the most when I have a girlfriend. And I think following that ideology of like, well, you have your shit together, this girl sees you as a suitable mate because another girl is with you.
It's called social proof.
Social proof. Exactly. And to follow the whole thing, like, I don't want to speak in generalities, because there are girls out there who really will boost you up, who will make you a better man.
Of course.
But
this is not 100% true in every scenario, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hope to find a girl like that, honestly. But the idea is that, like, in general, I do somewhat agree with you. I think if we just look at past, like, I look at like my parents' relationships, or like my friends' parents' relationships, just like analyzing them, because I'm an observant dude. Like, most of the time, the women in that dynamic, they didn't climb to like fucking mountaintops after they got with the dude. Most of the time, it's like they had the same job for 30 years. And it's usually the guy who was like, oh, well, I started my own business and then I transitioned into this and into that. And so I agree with you. Most girls, what was the statement, man? Most girls want to just,
They'll move in, they won't build. They'll move in. You have to have the kingdom established, and then they'll come.
if you have the kingdom established, yes, I agree. Once you have your shit together and you're a successful dude or like on the way to success, then they'll come in and help with that. Or I would hope so if you have a good relationship, right?
Right.
But if you're a fucking bum, like, dude, I at one point I would consider myself a bum. So I'm 28 right now. I didn't have a job. I'm like, you don't have if you don't have your own place in this day and age, girls from a socio-economic standpoint, they're not going to look at you the same. But it really doesn't have much to do with my physicalness. It has to do with, dude, do you have a good paying job? Do you have your own place? Do you have this? Do you have that? And there's nothing wrong with that from the female perspective. I respect that they're looking for these things because that's what they should be doing. But they're not going to build with someone who can't prove they could build, right? They're not going to risk it all on a dude who's looking like he's struggling, right? They'd
Of
rather
course.
have someone a little more consistent who has stability, who is showing progress, who's maybe getting education, maybe they're getting promotions at work, maybe they have a huge social group where everyone likes them, whatever it is, right? Like they want to see these building blocks before committing.
Of course. It's not enough for you just be a for you to be a nice guy, to treat her
Nice guys,
right. And
nice guys finish last these days, bro.
they genuinely do, bro. And that is a truism. I think that's a truism. I know some people disagree with that, but I think there's a difference between not being a nice guy and not being a dickhead, but also being extremely assertive, forthright, etc. It doesn't mean you got to be a dickhead,
You
treat
like
people badly,
just to
but
clarify, by nice guy, I don't literally mean like you're a compassionate person or you have it's nice guy is like a stereotype where you're just always trying to please the woman, or like you're always conforming, you're not standing up for what you believe in. Like you're in a more layman's terms, you're a beta, bro. Like you're not providing alpha male tendencies or you're not providing masculine tendencies. And some girls are okay with that, but I don't think that's the general idea.
100%, bro. Uh, yeah, man. I think we've covered a lot. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we sort of wrap up? Or
Yeah, so I do want to go a little bit more into the what was the unplugged alpha. I know you don't remember too much of it, but I just want to go over a few. I want to debate that book a little bit with you.
I'm familiar with it. Maybe some of the nitty gritties are lost to me now, but I'm familiar with the general concept, the meta concept of the book.
Yeah, so this is like a lot of people would consider this like a toxic masculinity book, and I don't agree with that necessarily, but I understand the perspective. I think whenever you're researching a topic and you're trying to learn more, I think it's always good to get both sides of the coin, right? Like whether it's politics, whether it's a personal belief, whatever it is, right? Like understand both sides to make an informed decision. And so actually you recommended this book to me.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? I'm not really into the whole toxic masculinity shit, but you know what? What do I have to lose by fucking just reading it and digesting the information, right? Like I could prove to myself that I still didn't believe it, which would be fine. Or maybe my perception changes a little bit. And so reading this book, my perception did change a little bit. And I'm not saying everything in the book is correct, but he goes over these hold on, I wrote down these notes real quick. He goes over these like general ideas and this philosophy, right? Where as a male, if you're trying to get women or you're trying to be successful in life or whatever it is, there's like 4 criteria that you should really focus on improving. And the 4 of them are like looks, which is like your physicalness, how you dress, how you present yourself. If you have good form, you're confident. Then there's the whole like money, which is finance. Like can't be working at McDonald's as a fry cook trying to get the quality woman, right?
Yep.
And then it's also status, which is sort of hand in hand with money, but not quite. It's like how much respect do you have in your community? How do people look at you? Like are you like looked on as a leader or as like just a regular Joe Schmo? That plays a factor too. And then this is more specifically towards like dating. But how is your game? How are you able to like speak to women and get them to like you or to make them laugh or to make them comfortable? And so I never wanted to admit to myself, and this is my own personal thing. I never wanted to admit to myself that it was that simple. Like I was always like, oh no, girls aren't going to see that artificially, bro. Women and men are way more. We're fucking in the 21st century, bro. There's no way it's that simple. No, man, they're gonna see me as who I am. I'm gonna see them as who they are, and it's gonna work out. And dude, I don't believe in that anymore. Not fully, not fully. Maybe partially. Like there's things like in a relationship you could give and take because you care about the person, but if you don't have those building blocks, it's not gonna go far, bro. And I want to hear your perspective on this. So I'll read the four terms again, right? It's looks, money, status, and game. Do you feel like those are like huge fundamentals to being
I,
successful as a male?
to being successful not only as a male in your life, but also in when it comes to relationships, I think that pretty much hits it on the head. I think obviously there's things that are being left out there. Obviously, like you have to have good health, um, you have to have good mental health, you have to have good relationships with people. But in terms of navigating not just your work life, but also your interpersonal relationships with the other gender, those things are fundamental, bro. And the reason why they are is because of the fact that we know and we understand that women are hypergamous, and so these are the things that we can do. That those are the four traits that we use to position ourselves in the best way possible, given that knowledge, right? And especially, it's more true now in the 21st century with social media, with the advent of social media and Tinder and Bumble and all these things, than it was maybe 100 years ago. When you would meet we would meet your wife at church or something like that. You know what I mean?
That would go back to the whole scarcity versus abundance argument because back then they didn't have the options. We didn't
They
have
didn't
the
ha-
options.
right now, a random girl in the middle of you know Idaho or whatever. Before, all she would meet is the boy down the street or whatever. Now she's getting hit up by dudes in Miami trying to fly her out. You know what I mean? If she's bad enough. So that's the sort of thing that's the sort of marketplace that you're operating from now.
Dude,
And so
let me tell you a quick anecdotal story as soon as you're done. As soon as
go
you
ahead,
wrap.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
All right. So I was gonna say that I have this guy, bro. Yo, this dog, man.
Eli.
Yo, Eli. Anyway, the whole idea is that I have this friend. I'm not gonna name names, it's all anonymous. I have this friend who recently hooked up with a girl, right?
Right.
And she's like 18, 19 years old. She moved from some random city in America up north, like, or whatever it is, like a hick town. And she moved all the way to like Central Florida. And she's a pretty girl, bro. And like she was raised in like a Catholic or Christian household, very strict parents. And she came down here, and my boy met her on the dating app. They hooked up, blah blah. And he like they had a good time. They had fun, right? He hooks up with her a few times, and eventually he gets an STD, and he gets an STD, and the girl pretty much admits after the fact, like, yeah, like I did hook up with a guy a couple days before I hooked up with you. And and then he found out he had it, bro, and he had to go through a 2 week, like, I think it was gonorrhea or some shit, where you have to have like 2 weeks of like you can't do anything while you're getting the medicines and all that going
Of
through
course,
you.
of course.
And he finds out that this girl is hooking up with guys during that 2 week period. And bro, it's crazy. Like I'm not trying to say that like she's a fucked up human. I'm not trying to shit talk her. But I'm saying that whole ideology of like this, what you were trying to express earlier, it's like this is happening in real time. Like they have an abundance of options, and these girls don't like. She was from a rural area. She was like Christian household. She never got to express herself, and then she completely flipped the other way and is a savage now, bro. And that I don't think that would have been the case 300, 400 years ago.
100%, bro. The advent of the internet has been terrible for that. And before, like, that's why dudes are like, a lot of dudes are fucking dickheads these days, bro, because that's just how that's just how people operate now to combat that sort of thing. You
Let
know what
me
I mean?
dive a little bit deeper on that, right? So this is more specific towards dating apps, right? So as a guy, right, we pulled up the statistics earlier of 95% of girls only swipe right 5% of the time. So as a guy now, if you're looking at this as, because dating apps aren't meant to find love, they're meant to keep you on the app. Have you seen the I mean, you're in a relationship, so you haven't. But bro, if you want to get a subscription on Hinge, for example, which is a more serious dating app, it's like getting to know the person, et cetera, you have to pay like $35 to $40 a month to get the
Holy
subscription for it.
shit, that's expensive.
Tinder's like, for Tinder Gold, it's like 20 something. For Bumble, it's 20 something. If you're thinking of these dating apps as a business, then their goal is not to get you off the app because they want to keep you on. They want you to pay a subscription. But that mindset now contorts men to have a fucked up way of dating. And this goes both ways, but I only can speak on the male perspective here, where it is stupid of you as a guy to only be talking to one girl at a time. It is stupid, bro, because if you're on these dating apps, most of these girls have hundreds of matches a day, and they're flirting with multiple guys a day. And just right, abundance and like, it's just common sense, right? I don't think most guys, I only can speak for myself, but I don't want to live in a world where I have to like juggle multiple conversations with multiple girls. Like, but to not do that means you're just hindering yourself.
Yeah, you're bringing a knife to a
gunfight,
fucking nuclear bomb fight.
You are.
You know what I mean?
It's like bringing supplies, right? Like you need fucking supplies, you need ammunition, and you're like, why did I only bring one pistol with one round of bullets? Like it's stupid. And so, but that's such a toxic thing for me. I don't like doing that. I don't. Like, I'll be real with you. Like, I like just talking to one girl at a time. But it's stupid not to these days because that's the game we're in. Like, if you're admitting to yourself, like, all right, self-improvement, understanding the game and working towards that, then you have to understand that these girls are doing the same thing. Like, I went on this was like this was like 2 years ago when I was last on dating apps. But there was this one girl where I hooked up with, and like we just hanged out, had a good time. And I asked her, like, yo, can I see your Tinder real quick? Like, just casually. Like, we were just shit talking. She showed me her Tinder and she had over like 1,500 matches, bro. You know how much I was getting at the time in terms of matches? I'm not the best looking dude. I'm all right. I was getting like 5 matches a week at most. Like after the first, like, because the way the algorithm works is like when you create the account, you get a shit ton of matches, and then over time it dwindles. You get fucking sucked into the bullshit. Bro, it is silly for you to play the single date at a time type shit. And what you were saying earlier is like, it's created the internet has created a shit dynamic for this. And I agree with you, man. Like in an ideal world, neither side should be doing this, but we've been put into a game where you're enticed to do it.
100%, bro. So you got to fight fire with fire.
Fire with fire.
It's the only way for you to play on an even field. Otherwise, you'll always have the upper hand. And the best thing that you can do to give yourself that leverage is to be the best version of yourself, bro.
Best version. And I have one final question for you, bro. And this is going to be the controversial question. You can answer as politically or as free as you want. There's no judgment here.
Okay.
So in this book, The Unplugged Alpha, there's a reference where, like, as a male, if you're at a certain class level, so like you're fucking ripped, you're shredded, you're like 6'5", you row for UCF, you're making fucking $500,000 a year. Like all
6'4", row for UCLA.
Like Tyler won, bro. But if you're in that category of male, you should not have to conform any of your beliefs to the girl. And it also subtly applies that you should be able to hook up with girls on the side. Is that
it doesn't subtly apply. It fully applies.
It fully applies it. Yeah,
I'm
trying to be like respectable here. What's your opinion on that, bro?
Dude, it's hard to say because from one perspective, I think there's multiple perspectives. One of them is,
dude, this is not your fucking hamster turning the wheel, bro. You're like,
I'm trying to answer this as like logically as possible. One of the perspectives is that is 100% true. That if all the things we've said are like all the variables are true in that you've reached the peak, right? Like you're like LeBron James, then you're obviously you have the pick of the litter, right? You have the fucking you're extremely selective. You have 1,000 different options. And the other perspective is that yes, you do have all those options. Does that mean that you should take advantage of it either way? So one question is how what's the reality, and the other question is what should you do based on the reality. In other words, if you find yourself in the scenario where you have the choice to be with like 10 different girls, does that automatically mean that you should be with 10 different girls? You know what I mean? Like, should you do it as opposed to can you do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
What is your
morally versus
perspective on
actually.
right? Like can I do it? Yes. Should I do it? That's the question. You know, what is the right thing? And that's up to the individual and your values and your belief system, whatever. I know plenty of dudes who will definitely just be like, oh yeah, I'll just sleep with 5 different girls, and the other dudes will be like, well, I can do that, and that option's always available, but I'd rather simplify my life, not make it complicated, and just be with one girl.
Yo, wait,
So
Jose chimed in for this, bro. Let's pull it up real quick. This is the final speaking point of talking, but let's add a little context to this.
all right, here we go. From Jose Breu. Fully applies. You have all the power. If she wants the money, she has to bend the knee. You can put whatever expectations you want in your relationship.
I disagree partially, and the reason why is because I don't think most guys are going into a relationship setting the expectation that they're going to cheat on you. So like in a world where like you create a fucking contract where you're writing down rules and shit, like no guy is putting, you know what, because I'm this, this, and this, I'm gonna be fucking other girls.
Well, I don't think it's no guy. I think it's people guys like you and me don't do that. But I mean I've watched podcasts and I've seen guys who are like, yeah, I'm very upfront with like, hey, if you want to be with me, you're gonna have to share me, type thing.
But they also set the expectation that the girl can't be
From the
sharing
jump,
with them.
and then she can't exactly, and it has to be set from the jump. So if you're upfront about it, I think it's a little different, right? Like if you're upfront about it and all parties are on the same page, then is that really cheating at that point? Probably not. But anyways, I don't. That's not how I. Obviously, I am in my LTR.
Obviously
But
not, bro.
But what I'm saying is that if, from the perspective that the book is giving, the dudes at that level, they can operate that way. And if the girl accepts it, then they'll operate that way. But there's also dudes at that level who can operate that way and choose not to. So the question is, what path do you want to take? You know what I mean? And that's up to every person.
He's saying there's no moral dilemma with it though. That's the implication in the book. It's like you shouldn't feel guilty about it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that it depends, because obviously, if your value system's different, then there might be a moral dilemma with it. You know what I mean?
By the way, I was just trying to pick your brain. I don't personally agree with all that. I just wanted to
No,
see.
I know, bro.
It was fun seeing you fucking struggle, bro. No, this shit's recorded.
No. I mean, it's just interesting to think about because opining on it while it's not my personal situation is I'm just trying to answer it in the best way of like I don't want to be hypocritical, right? I don't want to be like if I was in that situation, this is how I would behave. I'm not sure because I'm not in that situation. I mean, I can more or less have an idea of what it is, but you never know till you're there.
True, right? You're not in the position of hitting those 4 criteria at the peak level yet.
Yeah, so
that's what I was saying earlier. Like we were talking privately before this podcast. I'm like, dude, it's hard to relate to this book because you're not in the position of power that this guy's describing. This guy who wrote the book, I forgot his name, but he's like 40. Richard Cooper. He's like 40 something years old. He's a fucking entrepreneur. He makes a shit ton of money. He's tall as fuck. And he has a shit ton of life experience, socially, like he's very popular. Everyone knows him. Like when you get to that, maybe your mindset changes, bro. Maybe like you ever like, I remember as a kid, I'm like, dude, why are these 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds acting this way? And then you get to that age and you're like, oh, now I fucking see it because you're tired as fuck after work and you just want to rest.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe it's like that where like once you get to that level, you're like, oh, well, this is how I have to operate now. this makes the most sense, and this, you know what I mean. So it's an
Yeah,
interesting perspective.
I think something that's very important for me in my mental frame of reference. He talks about mental point of origin. It's that, bro. Yes, I'm in an LTR, but the reason why I'm in an LTR is because I benefit immensely from the LTR, in the same way that she benefits immensely from the LTR. I benefit in that, bro. I don't fucking, and this is like, of course, this is not toxic masculinity. This is just, things that I find incredibly valuable that my girlfriend brings to me is that, bro, I don't fucking wash a single dish in my crib. I don't do any cleaning. I don't do any fucking, I don't sort any clothes. I don't wash any clothes. I don't do any of that chore bullshit. She takes care of all of that. The only thing I have to focus on is going to work, making money, pushing the house forward if we have to do any sort of projects in the crib, stuff like that, bro. And then she takes care of all the rest of that shit. That to me provides immense value. Like I put a lot of value in that because for me, I find it annoying as fuck to have to wash dishes or fold clothes or whatever. You know what I mean? So she provides that for me. That's great, right? And so, in the same way that I provide security, safety, provisioning for her, you know what I mean?
Of course,
So,
that's the agreement you guys both came to. It's not.
that's the
I
exchange.
don't think that's toxic masculinity. I think that, like, I know some people will, oh, a girl has to cook. No, it's not like that. It's like you found someone who's willing to come to an agreement with you on how the house wants to be ran. I don't think there's
Yeah,
anything wrong with that.
100%, bro. So as long as your LTR is like you're getting immense benefit from, and Rich himself, the guy who wrote the book, he's in an LTR right now. He's got a woman. Um, and he talks about how like she's very helpful to him and shit like that. There's nothing wrong with that. So,
Nothing
but
wrong
it's
with that.
just operating from the mindset of like, at the end of the day, you know who you are, and if you have all your ducks in a row, everything's lined up. It's just being that guy, being the best version of yourself. That's the most important thing. And then you're gonna have people come in that want to help you with that want to fucking be a part of your life, and that's where girls come in. That's how I see girls, bro. Like if I wasn't with my with Maria, bro, I literally, I would not fucking, how to describe it. I'm trying to find the right words. I wouldn't worry about that at all. Like I would just be worrying about getting to the bag, and that's just something that would come from the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. If
It
it
wouldn't
falls into
it
your
wouldn't be
lap,
my
cool.
focus. It wouldn't be in the front of my mind like, let me make sure I text this girl back and shit. No, I would just be extremely casual and focusing on the bag. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yo, there are religions out there that allow 35 wives. I don't, just to piggyback on that. I don't think there's any, as long as you're like creating this discipline or this like dynamic and you're expressing it to that person before you get involved with them, like real talk, like, yo, like, I fuck with you, but I'm gonna have 3 wives, right? Like that's how I do. If you're okay with that, and you could work with us, and you could be part of this family, then we would accept you. I don't see if there's any issues as long as you express that beforehand. Same thing about cheating, like having sex with other girls, right? Like if you express to your partner that that's what you want to do and they're on board with it, it's not cheating anymore because you guys both have agreed to this.
Right.
I think that's the underlying concept. These concepts are only offensive, bro. It's not just American brains, bro. I think there's a lot of people who have this old style ideology on like marriage and all that, where it just, you got to find someone who's willing to accommodate your needs the same way Leroy has a girl who's willing to accommodate his needs with the whole cleaning up and taking care of the house while he could focus on the things he wants to focus on.
Correct. All right, bro. I think that sort of covers everything we wanted to talk about. Is there any final thoughts, any closing thoughts you want to have before we wrap this up?
Well, for whoever tuned in, thanks for joining us. Jose, you've been a trooper, bro. We've been out for a while, but we're gonna start this back up, bro. We're gonna be consistent with it. Just be a little patient with us, and we'll have some fun. And we'll reach out to, who is this, ADHD podcast. I think you already sent me a social media response, but I'm gonna hit you up and we'll see if we could do some collaboration, man.
All right, brothers. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Eric, it's been a fucking blast catching up, doing the pod again, bro.
Of course, man. It's been a pleasure.
Hell yeah, bro. Let's get back on it. You feel me? Hey, this has been IRL Quest. Signing out. Peace out, everybody. Take
Peace
care.
out,
Stay
man.
healthy. Stay healthy. Meditate. Do what you got to do. Peace.
Peace.